Howdy, my name is John, and this video is my October 2020 wrap-up. My November TBR is going to be in a separate video. The first book I finished this month was The Other Wind by Ursula K. Guin. This is the 6th book in the Earthsea series. Didn't really care for this one too much. In fact, I kind of deliberately picked it to be the first of the month because I've not been enjoying the Earthsea. I'm really disappointed that I haven't been. I gave this one 2 stars. There are a couple of short stories that follow the 6th book. The first one is The Daughter of Odren. It's a short story. It doesn't follow any of the characters from the novels. It's an okay story. I gave it 3 stars. The last story in the Earthsea series is Firelight. This story really doesn't amount to much more than a plot summary of the first 3 novels of the series, and as such I didn't really care for it too much. It's a short read and it is available for free. If you go to the Goodreads page, it provides a link to the magazine that originally published it. I gave this short story 2 stars. To finish out my month, I read a short story by Ursula K. Guin titled The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. This short story was recommended by Liam from Levity Books. I'll provide a link to the video where he recommended the short story in the description below. This is an interesting story. It was written in the early 70s. It actually won a Hugo Award for short fiction. I'm not the biggest fan of Le Guin's writing style, and that lessened my enjoyment of this work. However, it is an interesting short story. It's only 4 pages, and I won't go into the plot of it because it would be a spoiler if I did, as short as it is. I gave it 4 stars, and I highly encourage you to give it a read and see what you think about it. Next, I finished Saint's Blood by Sebastien de Castell. This is the 3rd book in the Greatcoats series. I did not like this one as much as I liked the first 2. The first one I gave 5 stars to. The second one I gave 4 stars to, but strongly considered giving it 5. There's a portion of this book where I almost gave it 3 stars, but I did like the ending of it. And it's just, I did not find this one is as engaging, especially at the beginning, as I did the first 2 books in the series. The next book I finished was Tales for the Midnight Hour by J.B. Stamper. This is a children's book. I bought this way in the early 80s when I was a kid myself, and this was a fun reread. This book is perfect for its intended audience. It's 17 short stories that are only a few pages in length. Each story sets the stage, builds the tension, and then has a creepy ending. Next, I finished Split Infinity by Piers. This is the first book in the Apprentice Adept series. I have a review for this one, so if you want to learn more about it, I'll provide the link in the description below. I really enjoyed this novel. I gave it 5 stars because while I do have some issues with it, this book represents what to me is the perfect fantasy or / science fiction novel. It does have elements of both. The world building, the plot development, the character development, they're all in the right proportion for me. I highly encourage that you give this book a try. It's the first of a 7-book series. The first 3 books are a trilogy that follow the main character. The last 4 books follow a different set of characters who are related to the first set. This month I finished Time of the Twins by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman. This is the first book of the Dragonlance Legends trilogy. This book I'm reading a chapter a day with a friend of mine. I really enjoyed reading this book and discussing it with him. Next, I finished Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. First, I want to say a word about this particular edition of Frankenstein. This is a Barnes & Noble classic It has an introduction and notes by Karen Karbeiner. I found the introduction and the notes to be very useful. Given the age of this novel, the notes helped me to understand some of the things that were in the text without having to go and look them up. I read Bram Stoker's Dracula in college, and I didn't really care for it, and that kept me from reading this book for this long. This book is way better than Dracula, in my opinion. I wound up giving it 4 stars because there are a couple of points in the plot where I kind of went, is that really what would have happened? And it took me out of the story just enough that I downgraded it from 5 stars to 4. But really, I think this is a book that everybody should read and kind of form their own opinion on. The book was written in the time of the Romantic authors. They were a group of people who formed a counter-argument to the Age of Reason or the Enlightenment area, where science and logic was the prevailing philosophy of the day. The Romantics led a charge to go back to nature and kind of to human emotion. You can see this in this novel with the contrast between Victor Frankenstein, Henry Clerval. In modern days, this is the conflict between Star Trek's Captain Kirk and Spock. The next book I finished was Moneyball, The Art of Winning an Unfair Game by Michael Lewis. Now, if you're a fan of baseball, I imagine you've already read this book and seen the movie. If you're not a fan of baseball, I still encourage you to read this book. I gave it 5 stars. It is very well written. If you're a decision maker, this book teaches you that the data that you use to make decisions with needs to correlate to the outcome that you want to achieve. When I started reading this book, I was like, well, don't baseball people use stats anyway? Baseball people love stats. And this book shows that a stat like runs based in, or the RBI, really doesn't correlate to the desired outcome, which is the win column. There are other stats that matter more. This book follows the story of a former baseball player named Billy Beane, who was the general manager of the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's did not have the budget to compete with the Yankees. So Beane went and hired a Harvard grad, and together, using statistics that had been developed during the 70s and 80s, developed a team that was able to compete with the big boys. There are a couple of really interesting chapters in this. One of them follows the 2002 draft. The other one follows the last day of the trade deadline in the 2002 season. That concludes the books that I finished for the month. I'm in the middle of 2. The first one I'm in the middle of is War of the Twins. This is book 2 of the Dragonlance Legends trilogy. Again, I'm doing a chapter a day with my friend, and I'm really enjoying this one as well. The next book that I'm in the middle of is American Gothic Short Stories. It's a collection of short stories by American authors that, are in the Gothic style. I'm almost halfway through, and I really had hoped to finish this by the end of October, but life kind of got in the way, so wasn't able to finish. I'm probably going to read this throughout the month of November. I'm not going to sit down and read the rest of it in one sitting. I think I'm going to go ahead and kind of use it to break up, go between books in November. So far, I've encountered mostly 3-star stories. There are a couple of stories of note. The only 5-star read I've encountered this far is Stone Baby by Terry Bruce. One of the 4-star stories in this book is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Gilman Perkins. If you're unfamiliar with this story, a woman suffering from postpartum depression becomes obsessed with the wallpaper in the room where she is more or less confined in an effort to cure her from her depression. Overall, I've had a pretty good October. I hope you have had the same. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.